Me personally, I would like to keep both my meat and my balls the same size in which they are now. However, down look on PEDs is that it does make your balls shrink. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. Samson here, and in today's video, why aren't you as big as your favorite bodybuilding influencer? First and foremost, it's most important to note, the last thing you should be doing is trying to compare yourself to somebody else. There's so many different body types, so many different variations in genetics. You may be working out just as hard as somebody else and just not be able to achieve the same physique that they achieved just because you weren't blessed the same way that they were blessed. I know I have some friends that work out all the time and they seem to not even be able to grow their chest or their biceps or whatever the case is. Whereas I can take maybe a month off and still be able to maintain the muscle density that I have, the muscle structure and build that I have. And so just make sure you're not comparing yourself, or you do your best to try not to compare yourself to a lot of those guys that you see as fitness influencers. A lot of them are just genetically gifted, unlike yourself maybe. Secondly, it's also important to note that a lot of the guys that you see on social media are taking PEDs. Naturally, you're gonna have a genetic limit in which it doesn't matter how much you work out, it doesn't matter how much you diet, it doesn't matter, how strong you are, you will not be able to achieve a size greater than your genetic limit is gonna allow you to. That may be you. I've been working out since like 8th grade. Right now, I'm in the bulking phase. I weigh about 230. I'm 6'5" tall. Over the course of my college years, I basically main gained all those years. I didn't just put on a lot of weight to try to go ahead and put on a lot of size and then cut. Especially playing college basketball, it was almost impossible to put on a lot of weight and then cut because you're constantly running. You're constantly doing cardio. You are in the gym lifting every day, but one thing that you don't want whenever you're doing athletics, unless you're playing football or something like that, is to be real heavy and real muscular. So that's not something that we focused on whenever I was also trying to train while being a college athlete. So right now, like I said, I'm bulking. I personally don't feel that I've reached my genetic limit because of all those factors of me not being able to just eat healthy and get to a weight and body mass in which I can build muscle and then cut down and see exactly where I'm at. With that being said, just make sure that you remember whenever you do see these guys on social media, especially if you are a natural bodybuilder. I know me personally, I do take supplements. I do not take steroids. I'm planning on being a lifelong natural bodybuilder. I do take things like creatine, I do take my protein, I do take, certain dietary supplements that's supposed to help you with, fat burning, improve your health and cardiovascular skills and stuff like that. I recently started taking this supplement called NMN. I'm going to take that during the phase of my cut just so I can lose weight just a little bit quicker. Because one thing that bodybuilding does, it is a long process. There's a difference between powerlifters and bodybuilders for a reason. A lot of times people find powerlifting to be a lot easier to do. Granted, whenever you're bodybuilding, you're not doing it for the strength aspect of things. The reason that I plan on, taking some fat burning supplements and stuff is because when I do decide to cut, it'll hopefully help my cut go a lot quicker because I'm trying to get right for the summer. Those guys like David Lade, Larry Wheels, Coach Greg, all those guys are on steroids. The only two people that I do know that are fitness influencers that are still natural is Alex Eubank and Jesse James West. So when you see guys like that are still natural and are influencers, they are at a peak limit in which they're able to maintain as much muscle as possible, but also being as lean as possible. Most of the time when you see guys that are anywhere between 15 to 18% body fat and still have a decent amount of muscle, those guys most of the time are gonna be natural. Right now, I'm right around 15% body fat. And so whenever I diet down to try to achieve my 10 to 12% body fat, I'm gonna lose a little bit of muscle. But those guys that look like they barely lose any muscle and they're still shredded, most of the time those guys are on PEDs. And so unless PEDs are something that you may necessarily want to take, you know, if you're gonna do it, make sure you do all your research. Understand that there will be short-term and long-term side effects that you will face from taking PEDs. One of the biggest things that guys try to be conscious of whenever they are taking PEDs is that your balls are definitely going to shrink. Me personally, I mean, it's up to your preference. Me personally, I would like to keep both my meat and my balls the same size in which they are now. However, with that being the case, down look on PEDs is that it does make your balls shrink. It also can cause things like back acne. You can have what they call roid rage. I mean, I know anybody that's into fitness has already heard about roid rage. And then, like, of course, long-term effects. You might have lower testosterone long-term. Whenever you do want to come off of having to inject or whatever the case is, every time you're using PEDs, you're going to be affected long-term and having to take some type of like hormone replacement therapy or HRT in order to have a decent level of testosterone whenever you get later on in life. And so PEDs are another reason in which you may not be as big as your favorite fitness influencer. In addition to genetics and also PEDs, maybe you just aren't training hard enough. Most of the time, folks are able to finish out their rep range. Say you want to do between 8 to 12 reps whenever you're bodybuilding. Most people do between 8 to 12 reps of whatever exercise it is they're doing. If you're able to reach those 12 reps and you put the weight down and you're just tired, you might not necessarily be training hard enough. I know me personally, my goal all the time, depending on the exercise, my goal is either 12 reps or 15 reps. It depends on the exercise, maybe like curls or something like that. I try to go for 12 reps. When it comes to squats or something like that, I'll try to go for 15 reps. Whenever I get to rep number 8 or 9, I'm almost near failure. Out of those 12 repetitions that I shoot for, I might only be able to get to 10 before I literally just cannot lift number 11. At that point, I'm training almost to failure, or I'm training to failure itself, which is when you actually build most of your muscle. There are 2 times in which you build most of your muscle. One of those is in the recovery phase. Recovery normally takes about 72 hours for your muscle to fully recover and actually grow from the workout that you had put it through. The second instance in which you build muscle is during the failure part of your workout phase. The common denominator between just about any type of online research that you can find is training in between 1 to 2 reps of failure is going to be the absolute prime time for building muscle. Whenever I train, like I said, I try to train to failure or almost to failure. I got plenty of friends in which I go to the gym with them. They're doing their workout and their last rep looks somewhat comparable to the first few reps that they did. Whenever I do my workout, my last rep, it looks like I'm drained. That's why I've been able to achieve as good of a physique as I have, because I do train to failure or close to failure. In combination of training to failure, you also need to be grabbing the absolute heaviest weight that you feel comfortable doing at least 10 reps of. With that heavy weight, you shoot for 12. You keep going week after week. When you're able to get 12 or 13 consistently for maybe like a week or 2, then you move up in weight and you do it again, train to failure. Once you're able to get 12 to 13, you increase the weight. And so that's one of the biggest things that I see guys do in terms of not training hard enough, which is the third reason in which you may not be as big as your favorite fitness influencer. I thank you guys for watching the video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Leave in the comments any other video ideas you guys would like to see. I know I got an upcoming video on nutrition, and I got another upcoming video on why certain exercises may be better for working a muscle group than others. So make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Thank you guys again, and I'm out. Peace.